So I did hear that there was this rumor going on in the world of football stating that Rodrygo could be joining FC Barcelona. So I went on social media and I started searching up Rodrygo FC Barcelona. And I swear to God, to everybody here, I swear on everything. I'm not trying to like be funny or anything, but the only thing that I saw in terms of like Rodrygo rumors or whatever, when I searched it up, it was Rodrygo potentially being fully Indian. That is the only thing I got. I saw nothing in regards to FC Barcelona and Rodrygo. So this whole thing I think is made up, and I believe that the reason why this is such a huge conversation is because the whole fan base of Real Madrid and Barcelona are speculating, could Rodrygo join FC Barcelona? Like literally, if you go on Google or if you go on X and you search up Rodrygo rumors, you're only going to be seeing, could Rodrygo potentially be fully Indian? And that's it. But yeah, there's literally nothing there. But I want to have that conversation, right? Like, what if Rodrygo were to join FC Barcelona? What would that look like? And is Rodrygo good enough to join this team? So first things first, since we are a Barcelona news channel, I want to get some things very clear. In terms of us signing players this summer, just to give you guys a brief understanding on when we could possibly start signing new players, it's not going to be until July or August. Nothing is going to happen, or no conversations are going to take place around the end of May or in June in general, right? They're only going to be making those signings in July or August, and the club has no intentions, once again, making any moves in May or in June. Also keep in mind that Rodrygo did go on Instagram and he stated, "Thank you for all your messages and concerns. I'll be back soon. Stop making things up." This is him basically clarifying that, Rodrygo, he's not going to go anywhere, that he might, if you guys are talking about him going to FC Barcelona, it's all made up. So that clarifies everything. Now, let's just say that it ends up coming true. Let's just say, for example, Barcelona end up interested and Rodrygo is considering a move to FC Barcelona. Now, here's the thing. Why is Rodrygo potentially considering a move to a team like FC Barcelona or elsewhere, maybe Arsenal, maybe Chelsea or Liverpool? Like, why does he want to potentially leave Real Madrid? And I think that the reason is pretty simple, right? You have Mbappe, you have Vini, and you have Endrick, and you have Arda Güler. And the only thing that we saw this season with Real Madrid is they still use Rodrygo, but he had more prominence and more minutes last season where they won everything compared to this season. Real Madrid won nothing and Rodrygo took a step down in terms of minutes, and he had to share those minutes with Arda Güler, sometimes with Endrick, sometimes Mbappe early in the season was taking his position. It was not that pretty. And so I think that in terms of like Rodrygo maybe moving to FC Barcelona, I give that like a 1% chance. In terms of Rodrygo moving to any other club and just leaving Real Madrid because he wants more prominence at the age of 24 years old, I give that like a 90% chance that it could happen. That is a huge probability. I can see Rodrygo, moving because he wants more minutes and more prominence. We have the World Cup happening in the summer of 2026, and he does want to prove himself. And you cannot prove yourself in your clubs when you're not given the minutes or the opportunities, because you look, whoever is going to be coming in next season to coach Real Madrid, whether it's Xabi Alonso, whether it's like some other coach, let's just say it's Xabi Alonso, he's going to have a huge duty, okay? And one of the things is he's going to have to really nurture and grow the youngsters that Real Madrid do have. And Xabi Alonso is a good manager when it comes to that. And I believe that he's going to be looking at that and saying, okay, who is my best right winger right now? And do we even use a full right winger under my current system, which is potentially going to be a 3-5-2 formation? It's going to be very hard for Rodrygo to find a position in a 3-5-2 formation. And if we were to use a winger, if I'm a Real Madrid fan, if Real Madrid were to use a winger and use a 4-3-3 or something simple like that, I think that Xabi Alonso is going to opt for Arda Güler over Rodrygo. And I say that because Xabi Alonso wants to maintain possession, and he wants youngsters who are fast and can score goals on the wings. Rodrygo can do that, obviously, right? He's Brazilian, he has the flair, the pace, and everything, but Rodrygo knows Arda Güler knows how to maintain the ball very well compared to Rodrygo. Rodrygo is much more of a goal scorer, somebody who can retain the ball for like 1 to 2 seconds and go for the goal. Arda Güler is somebody different. So I think that in terms of the profile that Xabi Alonso could be looking for on the right flank, Arda Güler fits that. Now, once again, I'm not trying to discredit Rodrygo. Rodrygo is a great player. I also want to call out his performances against FC Barcelona. In terms of total appearances, he has had 8 matches against them. Goals, 1. A penalty on October 16, 2022. He has had a total of 2 assists one on October 24th, 2020, and one on October 24th, 2021. Notable matches, I will say that he scored a penalty in just 5 minutes back in 2022, an assist in a 9-minute cameo back in 2020. He also had an assist in a 72-minute appearance back in 2021. So he does have a huge history going up against FC Barcelona, and I can tell that he enjoys going up against FC Barcelona. I honestly just do not see that relationship being built between these two parties. Recently, where Real Madrid lost 4-3 by FC Barcelona, Rodrygo did not play. And that is where the speculations really truly started to rise, because everybody was like, okay, why is Rodrygo not playing? And why is Arda Güler starting? Could this be the beginning of something new? Could it be now that we're going to be moving forward with Güler and Rodrygo is going to be taking the step back? There were a lot of people saying that Rodrygo, in the end, is not good enough for Real Madrid. And so we later found out on that day, it was confirmed by Carlo Ancelotti that the official reason was because of illness. It was because of fever and cold and whatever. But it's just the fact that, the media, right? The media likes to create these fake stories about why this player might not potentially be featuring in this game. And so overall, I would say that the environment of Rodrygo and Real Madrid, it's pretty ugly. It's a little destroyed, because I have seen other rumors and reports and stories about Rodrygo having a bad relationship with his teammates, and that he just feels undervalued and he wants to have more minutes. And this is where everything just began to spark. All these speculations, all the tensions. And in terms of Rodrygo in the dressing room of Real Madrid, it's dark. So let's analyze, right? Let's analyze Rodrygo even more. He has a contract until June 30th, 2028, a 1 billion release clause. His market value is 100 million euros according to the transfer market. The three clubs that are the most interested that I have seen outside of FC Barcelona, because there is nothing concrete between Barcelona and Rodrygo, is Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool. And it does make sense for these three clubs wanting Rodrygo, because I have seen Arsenal, and Arsenal do need more goal-scoring power, and Rodrygo can offer that. For Manchester City, they're going to be losing a player like Kevin De Bruyne. They're going to be potentially losing the battle with floating verts, and maybe they might need a true number 10, and Rodrygo can play in the number 10 position easily. He's very versatile. He can play in a Dembele type of role or in a Kevin De Bruyne type of role. And then as for Liverpool, of course, if Rodrygo were to join, you have a player like Salah who is aging, who is getting slower, I would say, and you need more pace on the wings. Rodrygo can give you those type of things. So I can see why teams like Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool may be interested and may want to make a bid for Rodrygo, because they see that his situation at Real Madrid is just not good enough and he wants more minutes. I would be lying to you guys if I said that I saw something between Barcelona and Rodrygo right now. But we also have to keep in mind, right, that I remember back in 2019 when I was just starting this channel, and I remember that there was this huge battle between Barcelona and Real Madrid, because at that time, Barcelona and Real Madrid were going for the exact same players in the Brazilian market, and one of them was Rodrygo. There was supposedly a pre-agreement between Rodrygo and Barcelona in 2019, but he ended up signing for Real Madrid. And when I saw Rodrygo back in 2019, and I continue to see him through the years playing with Real Madrid, I always said that Rodrygo is a Barcelona type of player. There's a lot of players that Real Madrid have right now, or they're going to get, that is Barcelona material, and they can easily fit at Barcelona. For example, Arda Güler. Arda Güler was supposed to join FC Barcelona, just like Rodrygo was supposed to join us back in 2019, reportedly, okay? Between Rodrygo and Barcelona in 2019. But for some reason, Arda Güler just opted for Real Madrid, and now you see how he's being treated at the team. The dude could not even last 55 minutes against FC Barcelona in the last Clásico meeting, and that's because Madrid really just don't trust him, and everything is just being dominated by Mbappe and Vini. Everything has to revolve around Mbappe and Vini. That is just how Real Madrid is today. So Rodrygo, unfortunately, is falling trap to that. And what's crazy is I don't even think that this whole modification needed to be made in the first place, right? This whole thing about, okay, we have to have Mbappe coming in because he's going to improve our attack. I think that if Real Madrid moved forward without Mbappe, they would have been much better as a team. Very similar to how PSG got better as a team when Mbappe left. This Real Madrid side with Rodrygo and Vini and the strikers that they had, they were okay. They did not need to make any modifications. If anything, it destroyed a lot of the other players surrounding Real Madrid. And once again, one of them was Rodrygo. Rodrygo last season, right? With as much talent as much talent as he has, he had 52 appearances with Real Madrid, 18 goals and 9 assists, 3,777 minutes. Really good. One of the most used players at Real Madrid. In La Liga, it was 34 matches in total, 10 goals and 5 assists. In the Champions League, 13 matches in total played, 5 goals and 3 assists. Copa del Rey, 2 matches played, 1 goal. Supercopa, 2 matches played, 1 goal, 1 assist. Really good. Shot accuracy, 47%. Pass completion rate of 87%. And I was looking at that Rodrygo back in 2023-2024 season, and I'm like, this guy can be a great Barcelona player. But unfortunately, he went to Real Madrid, and we all know how Real Madrid like to move, right? Season by season, they say, where can we find the best star players for this summer transfer window? Regardless of how this might look for our sporting project and regardless how this might look for our system. And that's why they signed Mbappe, just because of the name, just because he is really good. And that destroyed the chemistry in the attack. Because now, this season with Rodrygo in the 2024-2025 season, 50 appearances, right? Very on par with what he had last season. 13 goals and 10 assists. 3,310 minutes. La Liga, 30 matches played, 6 goals, 6 assists. It's lower than what he did in La Liga last season. If you look at the Champions League, 12 matches played, lower Champions League appearances. And even though Real Madrid in general played more Champions League matches this season, 12 matches played for Rodrygo in the Champions League, 5 goals and 2 assists. That is once again lower in terms of goal contributions than what he did last season. Copa del Rey, 5 matches played, 0 goals and 2 assists, lower than what he did last season. Everything is lower. So it's insane to me to see how I would say Rodrygo has evolved season by season, because he was supposed to get better on top of that 2023-2024 season. Last season, right, he was primarily a goal-scoring winger, used as a right winger, sometimes as a left winger or center forward, and he was very sharp in front of goal. He was amazing. But then this season, he shifted towards playmaking because he had to accommodate, once again, for the arrival of Kylian Mbappe. And so he did improve his passing and key passes, but he wanted to score more goals. He moved away from the goal area. He's way more wider, way more deeper, and he barely does get any chances to score goals. And Mbappe is given all the chances. So with Mbappe, he's given a much more supportive, creative role. Plays wider, like I've always said, to accommodate for Mbappe to go centrally. Without Mbappe, Rodrygo is much closer to goal, has the responsibility to go forward and to score as many goals as possible, which is, I believe, where Rodrygo wants to be. So we'll see, right? We'll see how this whole thing does evolve. So as for Rodrygo and FC Barcelona, there is nothing. If you search up Rodrygo, rumors on Google or X, you're just going to get Rodrygo potentially being 100% Indian. But there's nothing more. And if you were to see who is Rodrygo potentially being linked with, if he were to leave Real Madrid, the only 3 clubs is Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester City, and nothing more. So that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.